But suddenly, black is ganging up 3 times on this Lone Ranger. He does play this.
That's it. Wow.
I thought that advancing the knight first, kicking the queen back, and then playing c3 would mean that at least now the pawn is defended twice, only attacked twice. Everything kind of holds together for white. But playing this now, it's safety first chess, but you are losing the pawn. And remember, you're a pawn up. Why give that material back?
I'm going to be honest, when I suggested c3, I didn't even realize that the a4 pawn will be hanging after this trade. But Hikaru has calculated further. He decides to sidestep with the rook, but the eval bar does not approve.
His one advantage was the extra pawn, and he still hasn't got castled. Okay, he's one move away from that, but this is it's a very risky way to play. I mean, maybe black can move the queen now to try and stop that, but that pawn has gone. So with the pawn not being there anymore, then I would assume Magnus is very happy with those last couple of moves, and the evaluation bar also agreeing that Magnus is doing pretty well here.
Can we change our picks now, David? I think I might pick black now.
Yeah, I'll stick to my guns, but not happily here. I really think that this is a key moment. If white gets time to castle, anything could still happen. But if Magnus does play this key move, queen to b5, highlighted by you there, Simon, then Hikaru's position does start to creak.
A natural looking move c3, but it seemed that was the big mistake, which gives the pawn back to Magnus Carlsen. And right now, a big moment. Will he find this key move, as Simon is pointing out? A key position in our other matchup as well. Let's quickly jump over. Will you do a quick action replay to see how we got here? Because it's been a complicated game from the start.
Yeah, we have a material imbalance right now. The clocks are ticking and the stakes are high, but let's jump in to show what happened. We left it here. Queen b5, the move we suggested, was indeed played, attacking this pawn twice. Hikaru's rook had to retreat to defend this vulnerable pawn, and suddenly some chaos. The black queen stepped back out of the range of the white knight. White retreated himself. Black tried to crack open the structure and found his rook trapped on a4. This was part of Magnus's plan, however. He took and gave up his rook. And this is the mess we're left with after queen to e3. I think we just see one more move. Black gave a check and retreated his bishop to e7. So material count, white has a rook for black bishop and pawn. And who do we think is better here? White's king still stranded, still cut off from castling. You can't castle through check here. Oof, to me, it's anyone's game. Without the evaluation bar, I would probably think that black was doing well, but... Oof,
yeah, I think the king's safety, again, it's been the same throughout the game, that black's king has always been safer than white's king, and white's got to get that king to the king's side. It's going to take a couple of moves to do that. The two bishops, they've got lots of open diagonals they can move on, so they're looking very strong here as well. The time situation, both of these players, they're the best players, aren't they, under, with no time. That's not really an issue, but you've still got to calculate carefully, and who's got the more danger here? Well, it has to be in this position, white, who's in more danger. Grabbing the pawn, though, and Magnus has got to show an idea. It is another pawn, a very sharp game. If Hikaru loses this game, well, I can't see him coming back in the match, so he's just got to make sure he gets some kind of result out of this one now.
Yeah, he's calling the bluff here, Hikaru Nakamura. He's just taking all the material and saying, okay, you try and attack me, you try and checkmate me, I'm just going to kind of bank it. And, okay, Magnus takes the opportunity to play rook to b8. Looks very natural, a pin. But the evaluation bar reacts and says Hikaru now has a big advantage if he plays the most natural move in the position. If white's king just kind of vacates the first rank, like we've been hoping for, kind of asking for a long time, connect the white rooks. That's the reason castling is so strong in chess in general. You connect the rooks, and suddenly white's material advantage might start to count.
Yeah. I've got a question for you, Simon, here. The first move that came to my mind after seeing Magnus's rook b8 is queen to e5. I'm threatening a mate on g7 and a double attack with the rook on b8. What's going on after queen e5?
Yeah, I thought exactly the same. I mean, queen e5 creates a fork on the board. You attack the rook, you attack the pawn here. I'm assuming that black can throw in a check now. Maybe queen a5 is a way to cause the white king some trouble here. Where does the white king go? All of a sudden, if the white king goes to f2, then at the worst case, black's queen can slip in with a check or take the pawn. So there's a couple of very tempting options. So it's just this check on the side of the board that saves black in this position.
Yeah, it's really hanging by a thread for both sides. And okay, king f2 instead was played, so keeping this one up his sleeve for later. Nice double attack spotted there, and definitely on both players' radars as well. I just don't see how Magnus keeps the initiative. Maybe he was banking on a move like bishop to c2, attacking this white rook, but this idea that you mentioned, Tanya, queen to c3 would now be a double attack, hitting the bishop and hitting this checkmate from afar. I think Magnus might have let it slip, and suddenly Hikaru, with all the extra material, and look at that bar react again, queen to c4,
Wow.
another inaccurate move by the world number one.
And this is a great chance here, Hikaru. He's got to take this game now with such a big advantage. I mean, he hasn't got much time. He's got 47 seconds. Still incredibly complex. We can see the evaluation bar, but the players obviously are not sure who's doing what here. And what is White's move? What is the killer move here? There must be a good move for White in this position.
That's the big question. The one thing that I want to point out is that queen e5 is still not possible because of a check on c2, and I think this was the move that you were looking for, coming in with that rook onto a tempo, attacking that queen. And now that the c2 square is guarded, I was again looking at the idea of queen e5, but he falls back with the queen to d2 because the bishop on c2 is pinned. Do you just pin and win here?
I think you do. You pin and you win that black bishop. Suddenly the black bishop on c2 is immobilized. You cannot move it. The black queen would drop off, and you can take a pawn with check. White's c-pawn is up for grabs, but the white king, notice how it's shuffled across to safety, is going to park itself on g2, and all of the remaining white pieces are working. They're coordinated. Magnus gives a check. The white king does move. Could this check have been blocked by White's bishop as well, maybe? And Magnus gives up his queen.
Queen c3 now.
Yeah.
You still have bishop to f8.
Still have bishop to f8. I mean, this looks horrible. I mean, Hikaru's got the extra queen, but Magnus is trying to do that famous thing, which he does quite often now, get a blockade of somehow on the king side. But White has all the winning chances. The queen is very strong. And when you're playing against the queen, you need to get your pieces coordinating. And I don't think the black pieces are coordinating at all here. Queen c1 is going to be a move. There's many ways you can attack those bishops now. Maybe queen c1 is one of those moves. I suppose there's a check though in a2. He's just got to be accurate here. There is a check there. Is he still alive here?
He's still alive, but Magnus is really struggling to keep things together. Look at those black bishops. Now they're skewered against each other on the c-file. The valuation bar going up again. Maybe the best bet is to just give up the black rook here, take White's bishop off the board, and you try to defend with two bishops against the white queen, but I don't know about Magnus believing fortresses. I don't believe in that one.
Two bishops versus queen will be a tough fortress to pull off. Rook takes bishop is the move that David suggests. A big question here for Magnus. You can give a check with the bishop to f5, but White simply pushes the pawn, again attacking both the bishops at the same time. Magnus Carlsen in big trouble. He does go for your idea, David, sacrificing the rook. And now it's all about, is this a fortress?
Very strong. I've never seen a position like this before, where you got two bishops, you got the pawn. Magnus there, look at him. He's gesturing with his hand there. What's he saying? And
I think
was it a draw?
we have a result.
Really?
He played king to g2 and it ended in a draw.
Why?
I am shocked.
Why a draw?
What happened?
Hikaru giving up any winning chances. It's only White who can win and hope to draw, but
That's bizarre. That's the ultimate respect, isn't it? To offer a draw in a position where you're a queen up.
This makes no sense.
You might as well play on a little bit. Possibly it's a draw, but why is he even thinking about offering a draw? Throw the h-pawn. Try to use your pawns. You might as well play on. I've never seen Hikaru do that before.
And you've got no risks in the position. You can play this position forever. This is absolutely shocking. And the one player who fights it out till the end